A train travelling from Świnoujście to Rzeszów had to be stopped in Puavei after damage to the traction system and broken windows in the carriage. The authorities are working on the site, including the police, the prosecutor's office, the Central Bureau of Investigation, and officers from the Lublin branch of the Internal Security Agency. 475 passengers were travelling on the trains from Świnoujście to Rzeszów, but their journey ended in Puavei. Between Puavei Azoty and Puavei Chemia stations, the train driver reported a break in the traction network and damage to the pantograph, resulting in 3 windows being broken in the carriage.
Około 20.
At around 9:30 p.m. yesterday, 2 further incidents were also confirmed. One was damage to the power lines on the same railway line over a length of about 60 metres, and a few hundred metres further on, a metal clamp had been installed on the railway tracks. This clamp had been cut by passing trains. On Sunday morning, a tragedy was miraculously avoided on the same route in the Galvolin district. Unfortunately, there is no doubt that we are dealing with an act of sabotage. Fortunately, there was no tragedy, but the matter is very serious. Today we are dealing with an attempt at internal destabilization and destruction of railway infrastructure, which could also have led to a railroad disaster. The tragedy did not occur because the train driver noticed the irregularities in the railway infrastructure in time and reacted. Allegedly, he had been warned by other drivers, but witnesses say that they heard the sound of an explosion on Saturday evening. There was an explosion. It was Saturday, right? Saturday at 9 p.m. I heard a bang. It was so loud that the windows shook. Reports of Saturday's explosion are confirmed by Ivona Kurowska, the administrator of the Galvolin Powiat. I received information about an explosion, a planted charge. She adds that a preliminary inspection of the tracks has already revealed damage to a section of track, which caused a train to stop. It is a 1-meter gap, most likely caused by the explosion. This is an act of sabotage. Nothing like this has ever happened in the area before, and I don't think it's happened anywhere else in Poland in recent years. This is simply the first time something like this has happened. As such, until now, there has been no need to monitor these lines in any special way. On the night from Saturday to Sunday, that is after the explosion and before the train was stopped, at least one other train travelled along the route.
Maszynista zgłosił.
The train driver reported an unevenness on the track. He was a PKP intercity train driver. It was the Wisłok train, and he reported it. And then the traffic controller informed the next Koleje Mazowieckie train, and that train driver stopped at the spot. However, RMF-FM reported as many as 3 trains may have travelled over the damaged tracks. When asked about this, the Minister of Infrastructure evaded the question. Minister, RMF-FM reports that 3 trains passed over the damaged section of track. Can you confirm this? Minister, did 3 trains pass over the damaged section? Can you confirm this information? Minister Klimczak, why are you running away? Why won't you confirm this information? The most important thing is that there were no train derailments in the railway traffic itself. In the railway system itself, we have no injuries. These situations were quickly identified. PKP has not yet commented on the situation. However, Minister of Internal Affairs Marcin Kierwiński confirmed reports that the detonation was carried out using a metal wire. Yes, we can confirm that the charge was detonated using a wire. Everything points to this. The prosecutor's office is still working on the case. The prosecutor's office will provide details. However, experts warn that last weekend Poland entered a completely new stage of hybrid warfare with Russia. The adversary has begun preparations for war. It is building a certain environment here that is intended to undermine public confidence in the government and in fundamental institutions, such as the armed forces and the police, and to create conditions conducive to potential aggression on Polish territory. This means that we have entered a completely new phase, no longer just informational diversion, but physical acts of sabotage against Polish infrastructure. How prepared is Poland? Not very. Railway workers say they have been trying to force the government to make changes for many months. They cannot even get encrypted radios. Anyone may still buy a cheap walkie-talkie and listen in on railway conversations. You have heard about trains being stopped by radio signals and so on. They hear these conversations, and we railway workers are informing potential terrorists of what we are transporting on each particular train, in which particular carriage. In a situation where the services and authorities fail, each citizen must take responsibility for the state and the safety of ourselves and our loved ones.
Musimy wszyscy
We must all be careful, observe what is happening, and immediately react and contact the appropriate services. What can we do? Increase vigilance, increase observation, especially around railway stations, hospitals, and schools. What we internally consider to be important objects. And one more thing. Do not, under any circumstance, accept mysterious orders found on the internet for which someone wants to pay with cryptocurrency. It is almost certainly an order from hostile services. The police should also be informed of any such situation.